Sustainable cities. The first thing that comes to people's minds is probably this.
Einen guten Nahverkehr.
An öffentlichen Verkehrsmitteln zum Beispiel. Öffentliche Verkehrsmittel.
Sein, dass es einen guten öffentlichen Nahverkehr gibt zum Beispiel.
Many think of a city free of cars and air pollution. A city that offers its citizens affordable and ecological ways of mobility. However, a sustainable city is much more than that. But what is a sustainable city? In short, a sustainable city is a city that is designed according to the three pillars that define sustainability: people, planet, and profit. These are the social factor, the environmental factor, and the economic factor. These three overarching aims have been split up by the UN into 17 smaller and more concrete goals called the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. They address the global challenges we face, for example, poverty, environmental degradation, and peace and justice. These 17 goals provide a framework for sustainable cities so that they offer a habitat that meets the needs of its current population without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Regarding this, the city of Mannheim is a pioneer. Situated in the Rhine-Neckar region in Baden-Württemberg, the city has set itself an ambitious goal. In Mannheim's Agenda 2030, the city, together with its citizens, companies and institutions, aims to implement the 17 SDGs on a local level.
My name is Christian Hübel. I'm responsible for the Department of Democracy and Strategy. Our whole system is sustainable in all its ways, socially, ecological and economical. On the other hand, we are now focusing more on fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, and therefore we made a big participation process with the civil society. More than 2,500 people were contributing in this actively, and now we have a new vision of Mannheim 2030 and how we want to be sustainable in all areas.
But how can a city determine what has been done already? Where are the crucial points and what is still on the to-do list? How can the various players come together and what could be a common currency to rely on? Impact measurement might help to find answers to these questions. In this documentary, we want to explore what impact measurement can do to make a city more sustainable. But what exactly is impact measurement when it comes to sustainability? How can impact be defined? And how can we ensure that the data really represents impact?
So in the past, businesses already had a very good knowledge of how to measure their financial impacts. And then a topic that came up next was ecological impacts. So during the last years and decades, companies have started to think about how to measure their ecological impacts. And I think we already have quite a good understanding of what the ecological footprint is, right? We know how to measure CO2, water and other emissions. An area that is just emerging now and where there is no really consolidated knowledge yet is the area of social impact measurement. So many companies are asking themselves, what is our social footprint and how can we actually measure it? And here I think there is still a lot of gaps that need to be addressed in terms of methodology, processes and so on.
What is the theory behind impact measurement? During the last few years, many organizations and municipalities have started to measure their social impacts. In order to understand the logic behind impact measurement, we take a look at the IOOI framework. IOOI stands for Input, Output, Outcome, and Impact. Input are resources that a company puts into its system, like time or money. Output means that a company does something with its resources. An output metric would be the typical social engagement. For example, a company organizes workshops for marginalized groups and then reports on the number of organized workshops and participants. But the number does not say anything about the quality of the output. In our example, this refers to the quality of the workshops. And that's what the outcome is for. In the end, the final impact means what you want to achieve on a societal level. For example, furthering education and reducing inequality through these organized workshops. The impact can be positive or negative, and that is why the step from the output to the outcome level is important. We asked the different actors in the region about the benefits impact measurement can have for their respective work.
It's very important to make an evidence-based policy and to show the people what works and what doesn't work. Because at the moment, in a very complex world, the information is doubling every year, you have a lot of ambiguity and volatility. We have the rise of populism with simple answers which don't work in complex systems. And so we want to show via an evidence-based policy and indicators and what works that the people that they come more to rationality when they are talking about political topics. And so we foster the democracy on the long term.
However, impact measurement is not only important for the city itself, but also for the different actors that all play an important role in making Mannheim more sustainable. Impact measurement can have benefits for all of them. And according to their specific perspectives and aims, all players bring a unique expertise into the mix.
The positive impacts that impact measurement can have are multidimensional. So there are very straightforward impacts that are economical. So let's say you look at your business model and at your value chain and you identify areas in which you can be more resource efficient. Then that has a positive impact for the environment. But at the same time you save money because you have to pay, less money for energy and the input of resources. That's the basic thing you can do. On top of that, of course, there are multiple other benefits that impact measurement can have. You gain legitimacy, you have a more positive image, people will be more willing to support your business, ranging from local municipalities, politicians, to your customers, to potential employees. You have to understand the topic also as an investment in the future. You will have a much better understanding of your business model and also the potential to shift your business model into a more sustainable direction, which will be crucial in the future.
Some companies have understood this problem as a burning issue. We have spoken to Südzucker and Heidelberg Cement about their impact measurement efforts.
We have been measuring our impact for decades. Measuring is the basis for managing. And if you want to manage a topic, you have to know what you're managing and what you're talking about. And when it comes to managing, an important part of managing is communicating. So in today's world, it's very important to communicate about what you do and what you manage.
We want to grow and develop as a business in the future, and since we are a heavy user of natural resources, we need to try to reduce more and more this use of natural resources and reduce also our impacts. So if we put in place some action plan in this direction, we need to check regularly that we are on track, and then we can keep moving in the right direction.
But impact measurement can have even further advantages.
Because in the past we have understood value creation as profit maximization, right? And now when companies start to actually measure and also monitorize other impacts, the logic totally changes. So in the past, for example, if you would invest in your employees, this would be a cost factor that reduces your profits. Now, if you see an investment in your employees as social value that you create, you can actually assign a value to it and make it valuable in your business model.
For the most part, non-profit organizations already made it their business to address social problems. Therefore, they have several more reasons to measure their impact.
Measuring impact is very, very important because these organizations, they have to figure out whether they really are effective in what they do. So are they doing the things right, and do they really accomplish their mission? And this is on the one hand very important because it might have a motivating function for the employees. If they can show that they are reaching the targets, this may motivate the employees who in non-profits are said to be intrinsically motivated to keep on going and to keep on track when doing their activities for the non-profit organizations. And on the other hand, oftentimes they get funds from foundations, from public agencies, and they have to really show what they do with those funds.
Ich bin der Lothar, ich bin als Foodsafer bei Foodsharing Mannheim im Verein aktiv und darüber hinaus als Schatzmeister im Vorstand. Als Foodsafer geht man zu Betrieben hin, das sind Supermärkte, Bäckereien, Restaurants oder Kantinen. Dort sind dann meistens Lebensmittel, die in die Tonne geworfen werden würden, bereitgestellt für uns und wir sortieren das dann nach noch verzehrbaren oder noch guten Lebensmitteln und entsorgen die tatsächlich Müll sind oder verschimmelt sind, aus und die noch zu retten sind und noch brauchbar sind, nehmen wir dann mit uns mit. Jeder Foodsafer kann in seinem Profil für sich selbst sehen, wie viele Abholungen er schon hatte und wie viele Lebensmittel er schon dadurch gerettet hat. Wir als Verein können dann auch eine Gesamtstatistik erheben, was schon gerettet wurde und wie aktiv der Verein in der Stadt auch ist. Jede Zahl in dem Profil von jedem Foodsafer steht natürlich auch für eine erbrachte Arbeit, für sehr viel Fleiß und sehr viel Schweiß irgendwie bei den Abholungen und das motiviert natürlich auch enorm, da irgendwie neue Zahlen dann aufblinken zu sehen. Andererseits ist es auch vielleicht ein Lockmittel für neue Foodsafer, wenn sie sehen, dass in der Stadt etwas bewegt wird, dass es da einen Verein gibt, der sich dafür einsetzt, dass diese Lebensmittel und diese Ressourcen nicht verschwendet werden.
As we have learned, impact measurement has many benefits. And yet, putting it into practice can be a challenge. How exactly can impact be measured?
So, when you think about output indicators in management, you would typically think of key performance indicators, and key performance indicators are supposed to be SMART.
Which means that the indicators are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound.
For instance, cars are not allowed to drive in a certain region anymore, and then you could look at carbon emission and the development of those carbon emission things. And this would be a smart indicator because you can really track it over time if you have the right partners for doing so.
A practical example for the use of KPIs is offered by the municipality of Mannheim.
We have at the moment 50 top indicators and about 300 indicators in the several units to measure the impact. These are, for instance, indicators like are the people are happy with their life here in Mannheim and the cultural affairs or the green and public spaces. So we are always looking for a response and the measurement, and then we see year after year, are we going to do better or have we do something more in some areas.
The city of Mannheim uses 50 top indicators to measure the implementation of the SDGs in Mannheim. Let's say that a small and medium-sized enterprise wants to become more sustainable. How can it use the SDGs in its day-to-day work?
So yeah, the SDGs are a very good guideline for companies to have a to-do list, right? So every company can look at the list of 17 SDGs and say, we have the possibility to make a positive contribution on, for example, SDG 1, we want to reduce poverty. In many cases, these guidelines stay on a very abstract level of how to actually measure the impacts, right? So especially for social impact measurement, there are really a lot of gaps in methods and really how to operationalize the constructs, right? So how do you measure something like poverty, right? It's a very complex phenomenon. And I think here we need the collaboration of different actors to first understand what the problems really are and then to find solutions. So I think especially this bridge between academic researchers and practitioners in the field is a potential that we haven't used to the full extent in the past.
The city administration alone cannot make the whole city sustainable. And so we're always looking for cooperation, sometimes in a little way with participation of the citizens in the suburb or in the quarter, but we are also looking for cooperations and connecting with academia or enterprises or the civil society as a whole to make our goals work. Because without the civil society or the enterprises, we are, I would not say lost, but the impact of the city administration is too little for making the whole city better and sustainable.
I think that collaboration is crucial. We also see that there is even one SDG dedicated to the topic of partnerships. SDG 17 says we need partnerships for sustainable development. And this is a topic that is really developing very recently, right? We see that in the past we already have collaborations between, for example, academics with each other, practitioners with each other, but now we see more and more of these cross-domain collaborations.
The municipality of Mannheim and the university agree on one thing. Impact measurement is a complex topic that cannot be tackled by one actor alone. Developing an effective and user-friendly system that helps the city to promote the aims set in the Agenda 2030 is only feasible by using the expertise of various players of a sustainable city. Therefore, both the university and the city of Mannheim organized events to join forces. One of them was the Urban Thinkers Campus. This event was attended by representatives from the municipality, the private sector, and citizens alike. In the course of the event, a number of workshops were held to develop specific projects and cooperations. In one of the workshops, a monitoring tool to measure the impact of the region was developed, and we had a chance to be part of it.
So one thing that we have just kicked off together with the city of Mannheim is an initiative in which we would like to develop a tool for this region to measure the impacts of private businesses. And this is something where, again, many people said it's impossible. How do you want to measure the impacts? But at the same time, there are already some projects out there in the world that do exactly this thing. So for the workshop that we organized together with the city of Mannheim, we have, for example, had one visitor from LA. And LA is, for example, already using an open SDG platform where people can report their impacts to the SDGs in an open source way.
At the Urban Thinkers Campus, we have had the pleasure to meet one of the representatives of the City of LA Office of International Affairs, who is currently working on the LA open source SDG platform.
My name is Angela, and my official title is SDG Data Associate, and I work for the City of LA Office of International Affairs. And we've been working on the SDGs since December of 2017 on localizing them, and a big part of our project is open source data reporting on the SDGs at the indicator level for the city. So open data and data in general is a big part of our city. The mayor is very invested in data reporting and open government, right? So being transparent about the areas we're doing well in, as well as, identifying challenges and opportunities for new actions and new projects. And the SDGs is like this new framework for which we can track all the actions we're doing as a city. And with the data, we can really identify the areas where we may need to improve, as well as areas where our projects are being effective in helping our residents.
The solution of the City of LA has inspired Mannheim to develop a similar platform in order to keep track of the efforts of the region's actors to fulfill the SDGs.
If we have the SDGs as our agenda that we agree on, what are the right indicators for our region? What are the problems that we have here that we can address by the contributions of the private actors in the region? Which impacts do they actually already have? And how can we quantify them? Then if we do that, I think this can be really a role model, an example for other regions and cities to also use this approach, right? And I think the more cities and regions that join in, the faster we will learn, because we can only learn by doing this exercise, right?
While offering a handy tool to track the impact of the single players in the Rhine-Neckar region, the scoring board is also supposed to function as a tool to determine the collective impact of the whole region.
The goal is to make an overview in the first step, and in the second step really to measure the collective impact of the whole region on several topics like SDG 1, no poverty, or on several special indicators. That would be great to say we are now measuring the whole collective impact of the region from the private sector, but also from the municipalities or from the citizenship.
A big challenge is understanding what it means, right? Numbers are numbers, and you can have hundreds of data sheets looking and just spitting numbers at you. But a big challenge is building the story. Like, what kind of story is this data telling us about the different residents, and what actions can we do to address these stories for specific populations? So that's the biggest challenge, is translating this like ocean of numbers into a narrative that people can understand and act upon.
Like in the LA model, the Rhein-Neckar SDG platform is supposed to categorize the SDGs so that they can be adapted to the local context. At the same time, it is supposed to systemize and visualize a flood of information in an effective and easy-to-use manner.
We are now making in the next step describing a model of it, and perhaps we can program the LA platform, which is open source, also for a first step so that people easily can contribute on it. That would be at the moment the effort.
The LA open source SDG platform, which is already in use, is a good example of a successful implementation of a local impact measurement tool. And it shows that this seemingly impossible task is feasible after all. Today, the tool already enables the municipality to pinpoint problems and to track the city's impacts with regards to the fulfillment of the SDGs. But local tools, such as the LA model and the Mannheim SDG platform, are only a first step.
So I think, of course, the vision would be that we have transparency about the impacts of various organizations and institutions around the whole globe, right? Because, I mean, the problem is a problem that affects our whole planet and all of our societies. So, of course, the more people co-create this transparency, the more possibilities we have as humanity to get out of this problematic situation that we have, right?
As we have learned, impact measurement can have a variety of advantages for the different players in a sustainable city. It can have motivational effects. It serves as a guideline for and monitor of an actor's work. It can help to save costs. It enables fruitful partnerships in which everyone speaks one language and relies on a common currency, and many more. Yet, as useful as impact measurement is, it is also rather complex in many cases, particularly when it comes to determining social impact, especially for NGOs that often lack the necessary resources in terms of time, staff, and money. This can become a real challenge. Thus, a collaborative system, such as the SDG platform, which incorporates the needs and perspectives of all the various players in a sustainable city, becomes all the more important so that they can work together and lead Mannheim into a more sustainable future.